On the Ukrainian battlefield, the most comfortable lives are led by the long-range artillery crews. After washing up in the morning, they brew a hot cup of coffee, then cook a meal. This is their breakfast. Because they are far behind the front lines. Beyond the range of suicide drones, their logistical support is quite robust. While frontline soldiers are still drinking rainwater and chewing on packaged MREs, the artillerymen can even get fresh fruit. In their leisure time, they can even keep a cat to relieve stress. Their work is also simple and clear, to provide artillery support for their own soldiers. Currently, the war has become a war of attrition, and artillery shells have become very precious. Artillery crews have to count shells every day, using them sparingly. Today, they were lucky. They received a batch of artillery supplies from the rear. With ammunition temporarily abundant, after a good meal, they began today's shelling mission, launching an attack on an enemy position. Due to ammunition scarcity, they must try to hit the target with every shot. Based on the coordinates provided by frontline drones, they quickly loaded the shells and propellant charges. The commander, meanwhile, intently watched the drone's real-time live footage, constantly correcting the impact point. The first shot clearly went wide. However, the subsequent second shot accurately hit the enemy position. Seeing the hit confirmed by the footage, the commander felt relieved. It seemed today's main task was completed. Now, they needed to immediately retreat to the bunker for cover. Although they are beyond the range of enemy suicide drones, they are relatively safe. However, high-altitude reconnaissance drones can still pinpoint their location. In conjunction with enemy counter-battery radar, they could instantly draw fierce retaliation from enemy heavy artillery. However, even with this danger, their situation is still much better than frontline soldiers in direct combat. Fortunately, this time they did not suffer retaliatory strikes. So the artillery team felt relatively safe coming out to do cleanup work, checking the artillery or counting ammunition consumption and such. The cost of these few shells today is equivalent to a regular soldier's several months of subsidy income. Therefore, sometimes Ukrainian artillery support is much more delayed than Russian artillery. The main reason is ammunition shortage. Moreover, every time they open fire, they increase the threat of exposing their position. Thus, sometimes they seem to act as if they are superior. When frontline soldiers need artillery support, whether they receive it promptly largely depends on their mood. Mainly, it's about ammunition inventory and exposure risk assessment. Several people attend to one artillery piece. And when there's a shelling mission, they must be highly focused, striving for precision. When there's no shelling mission, they can relatively comfortably slack off in the rear.